You there, Chris? Anywhere? Anywhere, Chris? Out west of Chris? I am not late. Okay. Everybody else is late. Well, I am just going to start this even though nobody's here right now. So, basically, I was just going to do a live stream tonight because I have a lot of things to say about what's going on. I kind of want to talk about what people are experiencing and just kind of talk about the whole situation that's going on, specifically with this lockdown, where you are in the country, how it's affecting you, and just have a general conversation. Chris, what's going on? Fox, what's going on? Can't see anything. Thanks for showing up, Foxit. Oh, and Garrett's here too. Cool. So just kind of want to start off with talking about my channel real quickly. If you guys missed it, go check out Kevin Baxter's channel, The Bait Man. I did a hour and 45-minute podcast with him. It's actually a link to it on his webpage. We talked about a lot of different things in the kayak community, fishing community, sponsorships, all that stuff. It was pretty good. It was fun to do. I like Kevin. I've known Kevin for quite some time. And I think I met him just from watching his videos. But I don't want to keep this video just kind of all about what's going on in our nation and how it's affecting fishing and how it's affecting hiking and outdoors people. I kind of want to keep it light, and I'll kind of start by what I did today that was kind of interesting for me. I went to Walmart, and I had to go to Walmart because I was in a dire situation. I literally was down to my last roll of toilet paper. And I never understood why people were hoarding toilet paper in the first place. To each his own. When I think of going into a kind of shit hits the fan situation, my last concern is toilet paper. It's, do I have enough food and do I have a way to purify water? But I'm not going to get up on all that stuff right now. So I went into Walmart. There's a super Walmart that is probably about, I don't know, 5 miles from my house. It's relatively new. And I rolled up there, and what looked to be a really crowded parking lot wasn't a crowded parking lot. There were people that were actually parking 2 cars away from one another. So there'd be a car, and then instead of trying to get the closest spot to the store, people were literally parking their car 2 spots away in empty spots. So I don't really pay much attention to that. So I just kind of pulled up to the parking lot and pulled into the closest spot that I could find to the store. I go up to, there's 2 entrances for this place. I go up to the first entrance, and it's blocked off with carts, and it says you got to use all one main entrance. And so I walked over, and the store was actually mildly crowded. I probably wouldn't say it was packed, but here in Northern California, if you're not from here, I'm assuming most of the people that are watching this now are in this general area. We've been kind of on a lockdown or a shelter in place for probably, I don't know, Garrett, how long has it been? I think it's been like 10 days. Like last Monday was our first shelter in place day for the state. And it's Tuesday now. So anyway, I go into the store, and the last time I was in there was over a week and a half ago. And there was first full week for Sac County. Okay. So I go into the store, and there, surprisingly enough, a lot of the stuff had been restocked. They're still missing certain items, and it's kind of getting weird to me because there's still no water, there's still no hand soap, there's still no like sanitary wipes or like Clorox wipes or anything like that, and that's to be expected. However, they did have toilet paper, and what they are actually doing, and this is what we've been reduced to as a society, or at least in my area of the country, is they've been reduced to having employees stand by boxes and literally hand you the roll of toilet paper, and you can pick which brand you want. They've got 3 different brands at my store, and they scan it and they say 1 per cart. And that's what we've been reduced to. Like, we can't be responsible enough as a society or an economy just to buy one thing at a time in a time of crisis. And I don't want to make this whole live stream about what's going on, but last week, I think my approach to this whole situation was kind of like, whatever, this is kind of, not going to be that big of a deal. It'll get fixed real quickly. And I kind of said, what happened in China, what's happening in Italy. I felt that our healthcare systems were better than both of those countries. And also the way that we, majority of these people in this country kind of frown on smoking cigarettes. And I know you go to Italy and they're smoking like pretty much 2 cigarettes at a time. So, I left Walmart and kind of was just thinking about this whole situation. There was a lot of people walking around in masks and a lot of people kind of wearing gloves. And I get that now. And a lot of sane people, people that I wouldn't think that would, that didn't look like they would rattle easy. Some people were wearing suits from getting off work and they looked like they had jobs. And so I think that my attitude of what's going on in this whole situation has changed drastically. Now, that being said, if you've been watching this channel for a long time, it's kind of made a little bit of a transition to more of a general outdoors and reviewing kind of reviewing channel as opposed to just fishing. And I want to make something clear. I've gone fishing 4 times this year. I've caught a handful of fish. The first time I went fishing was with Chris, and my GoPro died and my card was full. And so the one fish that I caught, I didn't have the camera running. And then I went again and then got skunked. And then I went again out on the Delta and I caught 1 fish. I caught 2 fish or landed 1. And they were medium-sized fishes. And I think for this channel, I don't think it's really productive for me to put out shitty fishing videos or bad days of fishing anymore. It's not driving me. It doesn't get me excited. I know I certainly don't want to watch it. Larger channels who fish or do one particular activity can do days like that simply because they have the audience and people are going there to, I guess, learn. I'm not here to teach anybody. I'm, definitely not the person to be teaching you how to fish or, what conditions work best for what particular bait. That's just not something I'm an expert in. So I just kind of want to loop this back to where I started with this whole COVID thing, was that I went hiking this past Saturday and I took my daughter and we went to a place that's prototypically not supposed to be totally crowded, but it was jam packed with people and families and everybody was getting out, but everybody was really super respectful of the whole area and did keep, I would say, probably more than 6 feet, more like 20 to 30 feet. There were some narrow parts where you'd walk by somebody and there's no way you can get around that if you're on a hiking trail. And I get that. Nobody was coughing or touching hands or touching things. And there's nothing really to touch unless you want to touch poison oak. I'm going somewhere with this, trust me. So one of the things that the park ranger told me when we went on this hike, right when we pulled into the gate, was the viewing platform for the waterfall, which is why I wanted to take my daughter there, was closed and it was blocked off and we weren't supposed to go in it. And the bathrooms were closed because of what was going on with COVID. And then when I got to the platform, it was just pretty much tape that was blocking it off. And I said to myself, I'm like, no, there's nobody over there. There's no real danger because no one's over there. No one's going to congregate over there. So I took my daughter and me, and we went on the platform. We got a couple pictures and we got off. And other people were doing that prior to me, and everybody's being really respectful. Now, what ended up happening when they closed the platform was there's this really steep incline you could go down, and you could sit down by the water pools at the bottom. And my daughter wanted to do it. And when we first went down there, there was plenty of social distancing going on. We stayed down there for like 30 minutes. And because the platform was closed, everybody that was on the trail as the day went on started migrating and filtering down to this one area because it was the only place that was nice and you could sit down and relax. And it dawned on me, I'm like, the closure of the platform had a reverse effect of what they were trying to accomplish. Now, while I'm leaving Walmart tonight, I'm looking at their new hours. Their new hours are truncated. This to me is actually reverse of what should be happening. And I know that sounds crazy, but when you look at trying to keep people farther apart and social distancing, truncating hours is literally condensing the amount of people that come into your store over less time, right? We don't tell people to congregate in cities where there's less square footage per person. So I think stores should be taking a little bit of, kind of a reverse psychology approach to saying, hey, look, we care about our employees' health. We care about our customers' health. We shouldn't be closing at 7. We should be closing at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. because guys like me, when I don't have my daughter, will basically go in there at like midnight. I mean, that's what I was doing before this whole thing happened. And going to Walmart at midnight is probably one of the most pleasurable experiences you'll ever have. You pretty much have 90% of the store to yourself and you're not running into morons. So I think that in this whole time of everything that's going on in essential businesses such as grocery stores, and our Walmart will classify as that, should take heed and literally kind of consider, and our government should consider, that they should be staying open later and spreading out their employees a little bit more, or hiring more employees during this time that can do menial jobs like checkout and keep the stores open longer. That's just my food for thought. Now, because I wasn't the only asshole that went on a hike this weekend with their family, our lovely governor has started shutting down the parking lots to our state parks. Now, what that really means is, and I printed it out, and I'll do a brief synopsis, is that the parks are still open. The trails are still open. The parking lots are not. The front counters where they take your money are not. So if you want to go to a state park and park on the side of the road, and some of the state parks that are next to roads, they're highly trafficked roads. So you're risking your car getting smashed or not having a place to park, or have to walk an extra 2 to 3 miles just to get inside the park. You can go to these parks. They're not blocking you out of it. They're asking you to be respectful of everything. But none of the employees will be there. And if somebody gets hurt, it's not really they're not going to be able to come there to help you out. Now, the behavior of my neighborhood in particular this weekend and last week, my daughter's obviously out of school, which has been really a handful because her mother's sick. So I've been full-time dad, and I can't work from home with her here because she's 5, or she'll be 5 next month. And when she hears my voice, she's at that playful age. She wants to, kick in the office door and play and, make jokes. She's a funny kid. And so work for me has been really bad. Work, has just kind of come to a complete and total standstill for what I do. And I work from home full time anyways. So it's been almost impossible for me to do because my daughter's out of school. All right. So last week I was doing my best to entertain my daughter and keep her well exercised while keeping distance from everybody else. But last week, when the whole shelter in place thing came about, my neighborhood everybody was out. Like, everybody was out. There were families congregating. There were large groups on the park lawn. And my daughter and I were just she was riding her scooter around and I was going for a walk. So amidst all this stuff, when the weekend kind of ended and the governor shut down the state parks, essentially what ended up happening was that I went out on Monday this week with my daughter to go for a walk. And now it looks like we're on an actual lockdown. And if you watch the news tonight in California, there was the first fatality or the first loss of life from someone who was 19 or 18 years old. And I think that amidst all this stuff, you shouldn't be watching mainstream media. That's just my personal opinion. You shouldn't be watching Fox News. You shouldn't be watching NBC. You shouldn't be watching NBC. There's a lot of fear mongering going on within those networks and channels. And I'm not here to say, one place is better than the other. Try to get all your information directly from the CDC. They've got a great YouTube page, and just go to their website and get information from there. Those are usually cold hard facts that are listed right there. And I just want to bring this up, and I'm going to stop talking about this. We're going to talk about something completely and totally different. The governor went on a Facebook Live tonight, and it was streamed across all the networks. And he was kind of reiterating over and over again that 50% of the Californians that have tested positive for COVID-19 are from the ages of 18 to 50. That's how he broke out the demographic. So 50% are from 18 to 50. The other 26% is from 50 to 65. And then the other 26% is, or whatever I said, 23% or 24% is 65 and older. He said it in that way, with the largest spread of information from 18 to 50. Those are a lot of ages right there. It holds the most kind of weight when you say 50% from 18 to 50, but the other two groups are broken down by 15 years, where 18 to 50 is really broken down by close to 30 years, right? So there's the information that's coming out is being suited to kind of emphasize a point, in whatever that may be. I have a lot of friends that live in New York City. I lived there for a long time. I know those guys are really getting run through the ringer right now. And I know this stuff is just exploding. I actually called out West of Chris when I was coming home from Walmart. And I was stocking up on non-perishables. I have plenty of, perishables. I have plenty of non-perishables in the house, but like my daughter likes strawberries, and I got apples and stuff like that. So I personally think there's going to be a huge wave at the end of this week where there'll be another round of panic buying. So my advice to you is go out and get prepared for that, whether it may be toilet paper if you're so inclined, but just hunker down and get the essentials that you really need. And I think back to when I was a kid, and it was milk, eggs, cheese, bread, the basic stuff to have in your house, because those things will go a long way and you can make a lot of different things with them. Anyway, I'm done talking about this. I'm curious to know what everybody else's experiences have been. Thank you, Garrett, for reporting me to the state parks, for going on the platform. I do appreciate it. I posted those pictures that I went on a platform on one of the hiking pages on Facebook, and all of the tree hugging liberals started doing this whole whiny thing, saying that I don't follow rules and I'm part of the problem and all that stuff. And my personal opinion is that we can't be stuck inside. Go outside, live your life, do it respectfully. If this is really going to spread the way that it is, I don't think people are really taking note of what they do on a day-to-day basis, that if the virus lives on a particular doorknob or key fob or whatever it may be, you need to wash everything. In fact, the one thing that you should probably clean right now is your phone, because your phone is the most dirtiest thing that you have on your body. It's dirtier than your asshole. It's a fact. It's true. I don't know. Maybe it's not as dirty as some of yours assholes, but it's dirtier than your ass. All right. I was kind of thinking about having Out West so Chris call in and doing kind of a live stream kind of call-in stuff, but I don't know. How's everybody been doing out there? How's everybody been, handling this whole thing? I know a lot of people that are on this thread right now have been out fishing. They shut down Clear Lake this week, and that's really a shame. And they shut it down because the people that went there this weekend, it's very similar to the state parks. People are acting absolutely irrational. And I think most of us who are fishermen or hikers or whatever it may be, or even hunters, they're kind of getting irritated because everybody who is going out to do these hikes and do these fishing trips now, we've never seen your faces before. And now you want to do this stuff. There's people. I mean, on the hike on Saturday, I'm not being an asshole, but it looked like Walmart at Christmas time. I mean, there were people there that were morbidly obese hiking a very steep 4-mile trail, and they just didn't look like they belonged there. God bless them for getting out and trying to exercise, but come on, go to your local park and do that stuff. Don't mess up my plans. Fox It Outdoors. Look, Foxit, if you have excessive diarrhea every 5 minutes, my advice to you, not to you personally, but if someone who needed that many rolls of toilet paper and you're talking to somebody, if anybody on this thread, and I know Chris and Garrett have fished with me, I shit all the time, not diarrhea, but like I go a lot. But if you have diarrhea and you need that much toilet paper, you're probably better off investing in a bidet for your house and just kind of winging it from there. Yeah, so Yakabas SoCal, are they shut down? Are they shut down from fishing as well, or are the boat ramps and docks shut down? Because I was just on Lake Hennessy's website, and it's open to picnics and people going there and fishing from the shore, but it says the boat ramp is closed. Us kayakers would probably just ignore that and put our kayaks in the water, but that's open. Lucas told me that my buddy Lucas told me that Berryessa is open. And I think that, for the state parks, like I said, the state parks are open. They closed down the Appalachian Trail. They closed down the Pacific Crest Trail, all through trails throughout the United States. And what that means is the actual trail's not closed. However, all the towns that are, kind of where you would have a stop off or you go into town to resupply, those places are closed. So if you are a thru hiker doing the AT or PCT and you needed to re-up your supplies, you couldn't get mail, you couldn't get your mail drops or anything like that, because most of the mail drops on those, I know if only on the AT, because I've done part of it, a lot of it actually. The mail drops are not typically at a post office. They're typically at like a general store, and so those stores are closed because they're not essential. So if you're on those trails, those guys were asked to leave, and they were basically, kind of. So you can't fish at all. That's interesting. So fishing is an essential kind of thing that we need to do. So I just got a text message from Out West with Chris and saying he wants to know if he was banned from my channel. No, I guess not. Okay. All right, what do you guys want to talk about? Come on. Let's kill some time here. You can ask me questions. You can make fun of me. You could ask me to go off on a tangent like I love to do. What has everybody been doing to pass the time? Who's been fishing? I know all the guys in NorCal have been fishing. Yak Bass, SoCal. Are you fishing at all? Do you have access to major waters down there? Give it the beer virus. New Melones is open. Fox It Outdoors, you are so high risk to get sick. And I think that food workers and people that work at convenience stores, these people, I actually ordered a pizza the other night from Chicago Fire, and I always do a pickup from there even before this happened. And for the first time ever, I tipped the guys because this was all going on. I think that if you are a food worker and you're delivering food and you don't get a 30% tip, especially if you're delivering it, you should spit on that person's front door and go slash their tires, because that's bullshit. I delivered pizzas for years when I was in college, and when I wouldn't get a tip, I'd still be pissed. And that was when the country was acting normally. Punta Canyon gates were shut at Berryessa. One last dude, I still want to know where you heard that New Melones is open. Yeah, Yakima, SoCal. San Diego's got more parks closed than any other part of the country right now, from what I read this morning. I don't know. I don't know what's going on down there. I looked at the number of cases. Sacramento County's got 94 cases right now, and I think we've got 4 deaths or something like that. I just don't understand. Some of the rationale. As far as the country is concerned, we need someone to actually put like a national order in place for a shelter in place. And I think there's a lot of confusion about shelter in place and shelter in home. Shelter in place does not mean shelter in home. It means to shelter in a safe area, and that includes going outdoors and hiking and fishing. If you can remain in that social distancing space, that is still sheltering in place from what I've read and what I understand. Your boss has a houseboat on New Melones. I I don't know. I probably would need to double check that real quickly about New Melones being open. It'd be nice to go out there. I have intentions of hitting the Delta tomorrow, which is stupid because we just had a front come through, and I'm sure I'll get skunked or have a shitty day fishing again. Because that's what I fished the last time. Is right after a front went through. Fishing for me this year, like I said, I've been out like four times. I need to get out and go more. I've kind of been dealing a lot with my kid lately, which is a beautiful thing, and I'm very happy about that. But it's been very stressful. Tonight is the first night in a long time that she's at her mother's house because her mother's finally feeling better. What's Chris? Heard that New Millis is open as well. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, New Hogan is open. So if you're in the NorCal area, this is vital information. So he's just shut down Clear Lake, basically. And that would make sense because Clear Lake is attached to a state park. Right? Makes sense, right? Tulloch is open. Yeah, Chris, you got a pretty good invite today to go fishing with a good buddy of ours, huh? You had to turn it down? I see how that is. All right. I'm just going through the comments right now. Yeah, and I think that Chris said the Clear Lake is closed because the Lake County didn't want people coming to the county out of the area. That makes total sense. They did that with South Lake Tahoe today. The South Lake Tahoe mayor basically said, we want you to visit Tahoe, but just not right now. And that makes total sense. It's just because those areas of the country don't have the capacity to handle an influx of people. Kind of what I was saying before, people that are doing these through hikes, you got to get off the trail because if 20, 30 people get sick in one of these little towns, it's catastrophic. There's only 30,000 hospital beds in all the state of California that are open right now. I think that we're doing I think out of all the states, and everybody knows how much I hate the politics of this state, but I think out of all the states in this country, we've actually been the most proactive. I think Cuomo in New York City really made a huge mistake by waiting till this past Sunday. And now he's on the news every day being like, we don't have enough and you guys aren't paying attention. I'm like, dude, you should have done it a while ago. Every state is waiting for an outbreak. They're not being proactive. And this is kind of what I was saying, or was going to say earlier, was that if you're going to do, a shelter in place, you have to kind of really put it down. And we really don't know how long this stuff lives on plastics or metals. We don't know if, some moron said it lives on cardboard. I highly doubt that, but like slick surfaces and moist surfaces, viruses can live, and in human environments, they can live. They thrive in that stuff. That's kind of what your body is. And where I was going with everybody trying to be like proactive and saying, oh, you have to sit in your home all day. You don't know, you go pick up your mail, let's just say you go down and pick up your mail. You don't know like who's touched the outside of your mailbox. And, go back home and wash your hands. I'm not going to start wearing gloves. I'm not going to start wearing a mask. I hope to God that nobody I know gets it. I am a little worried. My mother lives in Florida. She is a prime candidate because she's over the age of 75. She still smokes, and she is has a compromised immune system. So, and she's not being smart at all. She's still going to the grocery store every day. But, Florida, I'm not fear-mongering, Chris. I'm just saying. God. My God. Now I can't talk. My feelings are hurt. Chris, should I call you? You want to call in, Chris? Anyway, let me catch up on the comments here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one last dude, if you go on the KCRA app, the Channel 4 affiliate up here, they have an actual map by county that you can click on the county and see updated information. I do know that when I woke up this morning, I had Fox News on. They were talking about the number of deaths were at like 473, and that was at 7 a.m. By 9 a.m., then it got updated to 550. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I didn't want to just talk about this whole virus thing, but it's affecting everything that we're doing. I think that Out West Chris's video, if you guys haven't seen that, when he talked about what's going on in this country, I think it was a really good, well thought out video. And I think that, the logic that he has is kind of the logic that I have. You kind of have to live your life, and you just can't. 700 and some now, right? For the passings, one lost dude. Yeah. So, like, it's going up exponentially. And I think that there's a lot of things that we'll see within the next week. And I think that this thing will just kind of go through the roof, and we'll see drastic changes. I'm under the assumption now that my daughter will not be going back to school. I'm in the assumption now too that my family won't be flying out for my daughter's birthday, which is in April, and that's totally fine. I don't even want them to. I don't know what's going to happen with this stuff, and so I'm trying to live my life as best as possible. And like, I think going fishing and being outside, and people who are cautious of what they're doing, and you just kind of got to tune your life. Now, in regards to the economy, I think we're all screwed. I think, my business will be gone. My business will be gone within another month. Just the nature of it. I work specifically in the field of human resources and consulting and helping people get hired. Everything is stopped completely. My major market is New York City and Chicago and Los Angeles. And every single client that I have has been like, I actually, 2 days ago, or not 2 days, Monday, I decided to reach out to somebody, and the CEO got back to me and ripped me a new one. And he was pissed. He called me insensitive. He called me an asshole. And look, I'll take credit for being an asshole, but this guy was mad. He's like, we're going to go bankrupt because of this. And because things change on a dime. And even Chris said in his video the other day, the lessons that we'll learn from this is that, essentially it's good to have some money in the bank. And I think more than 75 to 80% of the United States lives on paycheck to paycheck, and it's not their fault. They're not bad with money. It's just the way that things are. It's very expensive to live these days. I look at everything that our parents had when we were growing up as kids. I'm 44. I had a conversation with my dad about this. My dad's just like, why does your generation have less money? Well, everything has gone up incrementally, but just even small things. When we were kids and our parents were our age or even younger, there were no cell phones. So cell phone bill average is what, $100 a month? That's $1,200 a year. Cable bill is around $150 if you haven't cut the cord already. So, that's another. It adds up. It's like another $22,000, $3,000, $3,200 every year, just to have things that we consider a necessity now. It adds up, and that's kind of why I think my generation, you have either people that just knocked it out of the park and did something incredible and make a shit ton of money, and then you have guys like me that are right in the middle, and then you have this huge, like, just people that are way down the line and are living paycheck to paycheck, and it's not getting any better, and certainly not getting cheaper. Like I said, I mentioned before, I went to Walmart. I do know for a fact, because I monitor how much I spend, and I buy the same thing at Walmart every time I go there because it's the same products. My toilet paper purchase today went up by $4.69 or $4.79 from when the last time I bought it, which was over a month ago. So, I just think that we all need to buckle up and buckle down. I probably tip your bartenders who won't exist anymore. Chris is right. Tip everybody. Tip me, man. I'm here not really entertaining you. This is kind of, just a ramble, but that's what my live streams typically are. Yeah, it's one lost dude is that, it's over $3. I put 91 in my tank, and I think at one time late last year I was paying $4.79 for a gallon of gas. And I just think that it's very expensive to live these days. And this is a situation that will take a lot of people out. It'll take them out for a long time. Me personally, I'll be totally candid with you. Like I just mentioned, that my business will probably just go by the wayside. And I don't want it to. I'm going to fight for it and I'll do everything possible. But in this interim, I'm seriously considering going to Costco and applying for a job just to keep myself busy every day that I don't have my daughter, or going to one of the grocery stores and doing that. I have no qualms about doing that. If it's going to put a little bit of extra money in my pocket, I will. I think that pridefulness will get you nowhere in this life. And I just think that, if you really do need money, you need things to do. The grocery industry, just in the Sacramento area alone, I think are hiring 10,000 people within the next for temporary work. And that might get you through a rough time. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. This is the kind of stuff that, I hate to hear, is that like, got one guy on here working in the food industry and another guy just got rid of them, separated from the military. Amazon's trying to hire 100,000 people right away, Chris. And I checked on that because you mentioned to me over a phone call the other night. Those 100,000 people have to be qualified to do certain things. So I think that over half of that is technical work. So I think anywhere from like 35,000 to 35,000 to like 40,000 is all like inside technical work. Garrett, are you okay? Are you still working? Yeah, if anybody's got this like solid information on the Amazon stuff, send me a link at Yankee Taker Outdoors at Gmail. I kind of would like to kind of start sharing this stuff and probably helping as many people out as possible. If you guys know of anything in your area, if it's in the South or the North, or if it's in a different state and you're watching this right now, just try to send some links along to me, and I'll circulate them and I'll get them out. Because I just don't like seeing people struggle, because I've struggled. Life is hard, and I've been there. I've been at the bottom. I've been lower at the bottom than the bottom, and so it's to get back up sometimes is hard. It's even harder when everybody else is down at the bottom with you. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's debilitating. And even our president today, you might like him, you might hate him, but he mentioned there's going to be a lot of people, if the economy doesn't change, that will be taking their own lives. And I don't want that to be the case. Sometimes there's just people get to that desperate stage and they think there's no way out and I got to end this. So, wow. I was going to try to have a fun live stream. I was going to try to be like, hey, this is lighthearted. So anyway, this has been kind of depressing. Garrett, if anybody needs anything from me, besides a hug or a handshake, I'd be more than happy to help out. Except if you're moving, I refuse to help friends move. You know who you are. I don't move people. It's just one of my things. But if there's information that you guys have about what's going on in closures, let's do our best to kind of all pump it out. Let's all of us kind of really stay positive during this time. Stickers. Fox, what are you talking about? Stickers. Chris, you did not help me when I was moving. You moved one item. I'm joking. Fox, where are you located? Okay. I don't, I don't really know what else to talk about besides this damn stupid virus. I think, and so Garrett is talking about like I'm glad you still have your job, Garrett. That's really good. I think it's important that like everybody just kind of keep calm right now. Like I said, I think there'll be another wave of panic buying and another wave of catastrophes in this country coming at the end of this week. I'm really prepared for it. I am thankful that my daughter's mother is getting better. I think that she freaked out a little bit late last week when she got really sick, and just kind of wanted to take it easy. So I'm praying for everybody's health. I hope that everybody around you is happy and healthy. And I want to stop talking about this, to be candid with you, but it's just such a big topic. In regards to fishing, if anybody in the Northern California wants to go fishing, I'm going to try to fish sometime this week. If not tomorrow, then Thursday. But that's it. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? You want bug out gear? I'll talk real quickly about something that's new. I have a new partnership, and I'm saying that word, I think, in the proper term. So I have been doing some work with Nebo for a while now. And by work, I mean they send me stuff when I ask for it. They're not just giving me stuff, but they want me to do stuff to review. That partnership is a good one, but it's not great simply for the fact that once I do the social media for them, they don't push it out. So it's really not that great. I just started working with an outdoor company, and in regards to bug out stuff, I will be doing a video on 2 different bug out setups for shelters. This outdoor company, oddly enough, and I'll say it in the video when I do it, but oddly enough, I was eyeing one of their hammock, tarp, bug net systems, and I'd actually put it in my wish list on Amazon, and serendipitously they reached out to me and just said, hey, we'd like to send you some stuff to review and kind of create a partnership. These are the other YouTubers in the hiking and backpacking community that we work with. We know that you're doing bug out stuff, so it was really positive, and they sent me some stuff. They sent me some stuff that they wanted me to review as well, that are like stuff that's just really not kind of endemic to this channel. But for bug out videos, I definitely will be doing a bug out setup of my sleep system. I'll be doing a bug out system for the hammock, and I'll be doing a bug out system for the tent. Ideally, I would like to do that not in the house, obviously, or in my neighborhood. I'd like to be able to get out and do some stuff and film it. That being said, I don't have my daughter this week, and I think if my ex stays healthy, I'll be able to go out and set that stuff up and make some videos in the backcountry or wherever it may be. So that's coming. Some more stuff is coming in regards to bug out stuff. Not a ton. That wasn't intended to be like a full kind of swing on this channel. I just had a bug out bag, and that was the VanQuest. It was built for so long. And out west, so Chris has one too that's been built for a very long time. And there's been time, I think over 2 years ago, Chris and I were out fishing, and I was like, I need to do a review of my bug out bag. And Chris was like, yeah, I should probably do one too. And I just finally got around to doing it. And oddly enough, I did it right before all this stuff kind of went down. When you do something like that and you're a YouTuber and you change completely and totally shift your channel, you lose views, you lose people. I lost 50 subscribers in 1 month simply for the fact that I think I stopped just talking about fishing all the time, and I'm fine with that. There'll be a lot of gear reviews. I have a killer sleep system for car camping and light backpacking for bigger guys because I'm a big guy. I'm not light and I'm not short. So I've got an incredible air mattress. I got a whole sleep system that I want to kind of do a review on for bigger guys. I've got a tent coming from this outdoor company that probably won't be here for another month. So it'll give me time to kind of get some stuff strapped in. Nebo's going to send me a couple more lights Nebo's going to send me some lights for giveaways. And what I've found, and this is kind of interesting because on Kevin Baxter's podcast a week and a half ago, whenever I did it, Kevin and I talked about sponsorships, and the fishing sponsorships. I never had a fishing sponsorship. I never had a pro staff. I mean, I did, but it was not real. It was like I did the Woo Tungsten. I did all the crappy stuff that we all get caught up in. And what I've learned or what I've experienced so far, switching kind of, and gaining another community in the hiking community. And I don't have a big following in the hiking community yet. But what I've learned is that those partnerships are real partnerships. They're not telling you what to post, when to post, what to hashtag or anything. Those are just my experiences with the two companies that I've dealt with. And I've dealt with Nebo for 5 months now. And so it's really, and everything is free. I'm not buying anything like they do in fishing pro staff stuff, which always bothered the crap out of me. So, and I'm also working on picking up another partnership with a clothing company that does outdoor gear, and I'm soliciting them. I'm going to put my marketing background to work and see if I can actually get a deal with a big brand, because I would really, really like that. Another thing that's kind of interesting about the two communities, fishing and the outdoor community, the hiking community, bug out bag community, is that, and I'll take this to the Instagram stuff. I have made a very, very proactive attempt to unfollow anybody on Instagram that is a chick, like a Instagram model chick, or pages like fish bras and all that stuff. I'm sick and tired of seeing that stuff. I will love to, and I've talked about this in my Instagram, my 2 cents video. I would love to see big fish caught by people who are actually catching them. I love to see people show off their big fish, but like some of this stuff, and I've done those with YouTube channels too, I'm sick and tired of seeing the bikini models not really catching the fish and posting the pics. And I'm sick and tired of the aggregate pages that occur. It really just happens in fishing, in some of the hunting stuff too. I'm not really sure why. I guess because they think that just because we're all men, I don't know. But I'm making a point to kind of get away from all that stuff because it's just not entertaining to me anymore. And I've been putting out a lot more videos lately because I've got a ton of stuff that I want to review. And when I was able to break away from just doing fishing, I felt a lot of pressure from doing fishing videos, and I still do. And that's why I had a couple of people reach out to me like, dude, where are your fishing videos? Like, why aren't you pushing fishing videos up anymore? Because I'm not having good days on the water just yet. I am catching the tail end of a front and the fishing is just horrible, or my GoPro dies, or my SD card's full, or something goes wrong. And it's taking me to a point where when I was fishing and really enjoying it, to where I was starting to hate it. And I don't want to do that with something that I love. So the last time I went out fishing, I didn't even bring a camera. And I didn't even bring my fish finder because I was going to the Delta. And I caught 2 small fish. And I was just like, even if I was filming this, it wouldn't make any sense to put out a video. I think that there's only so much you can do with a YouTube channel if you're going to be strictly fishing. Look, I'm sure everybody on here follows Greg Blanchard. And Greg's got a great channel. And Greg's the nicest guy in the world. But Greg's never going to do anything different except get on his kayak and go fish. I have a low attention span. I can't watch stuff like that for 6 years. I can't. I get bored with it. Shit, dude. I get bored with porn. Yeah, I said it. So for me, it's kind of like the outdoor stuff and the gear reviews. I enjoy doing that stuff. I enjoy doing that stuff a lot because I have a ton of knowledge in it. I just do because I research everything that I do and everything that I buy. And I like that stuff. I'm a gear dude. Like, I've always been a gear dude. In fact, during this whole COVID thing, like, one of the coolest things happened yesterday was my high school buddies from New York have all been on a group text. And one of my guys that I still talk to said we should all do a Zoom call. And I'm going to relate this to the story of the gear, but like, I got on a Zoom call with my closest friends from high school that I'm not super close with anymore, just because time has gotten away from us. I talked to and saw guys that I hadn't seen in 20 years. And it was really, really cool. But one of those guys on the call was my buddy CJ, who lives in Utah. And I'll never forget this. I did slot canyoneering with my friend CJ on the public lands of Utah. I went to Robber's Roost. If you've ever seen the movie 127 Hours, where Aaron Ralston cut off his arm, if you guys have ever seen that, I actually was not in that canyon, but I was 2.5 miles east of that canyon. East of that canyon. And, this is before I was doing YouTube and all this stuff, but I went out there. He picked me up from the airport, and I had a 50-liter backpack. And he basically was making fun of me when we got to the public lands. And public lands, there's nothing. There's no cell service. There's no nothing. And so I unloaded the pack, and he's like, "You have so much freaking gear, dude. Like, what's your issue?" I had tents, all this stuff, all these gadgets, because I've just always been that way. He even made fun of me because when we were in high school, we used to do orienteering courses. And if you're not familiar with orienteering, it's basically navigating with a compass and a map. And by course, I mean, it's a competition. I used to do orienteering competitions, not competitions. It's kind of a very strict way of saying it, but it was a competition to find out who could get to certain points. And there was usually anywhere from 6 to 20 guys out in this major field, in the middle of, upstate New York or in the gunks, and just basically looking for stuff off of a compass and a map. And it was competition to find all these little items, almost like a hide and seek game. And I, even back then, when I was 16 and 17 and 18, I just was a gadget guy. So I enjoyed doing that. This can be a big part of this channel. If you're watching this now, if you watch it later, you're going to realize that it's not going away with this channel. I got away from it. I want to fish as much as possible. I don't want to fish by myself anymore. I think I get frustrated entirely too quickly. Wow, it's like a therapy session for me. I think I get frustrated too quickly. Last year with me fishing was the most frustrating year of fishing I've ever had in my life, whether it was in a kayak on the shore, in a dinghy, in a boat, in a yacht, or wherever, in any part of the country. I've never experienced a year like I had last year. And it fucked me up. And it fucked me up bad because I wasn't enjoying the actual process of getting ready to go fishing. I wasn't excited about it anymore. And I took a long break from it. I'm excited to fish again, but I'm not going to do it alone. Of course, there'll be times when I go out there alone, but I'm going to try to get groups of people to go, or at least somebody else to go. I'm thankful enough that Garrett lives in my neighborhood and probably won't have a job soon. I'm joking, dude. I'm just totally joking. I'm totally joking, Garrett. But Chris lives relatively close to me, and I just want to get out and kind of explore those waters with somebody else. Let me catch up on. Garrett, I am drinking. I'm actually drinking berry. It's the berry Propel drink mix with water. It's not alcohol. Kind of gave that shit up. Porn board, you must be. One lost dude. I don't watch a lot of porn, but the times that I do, I get bored with it really easy. Yeah, Chris's sister's getting married this weekend, and he and I had a heart-to-heart. It's hard during this time not to be able to go see loved ones and special events. I know that a lot of people have been canceling graduation ceremonies for colleges, and that's a big deal. If you went to college, or even when you graduated high school, it's a big deal. Not necessarily to the person who's doing it. Sometimes it is. But for me, every day that I walked in a graduation ceremony, was it for any level of schooling, it was a big deal to my family. And families want to see that stuff, and it's a crowning achievement for a lot of people. I feel bad for anybody right now who's pregnant and who's getting ready to have a baby, and I'd be nerve-wracked about the situation about going into a hospital. And if you're the husband, you can't go into the delivery room anymore. That's kind of like the new rule that they're setting out through the country. And that's one last thing I want to bring about this is that we're all talking about what this virus, the pressure it's going to put on our healthcare system. everyday shit still happens. And that's one of the things that scares me the most, having a 4-year-old as reckless as she is when she runs around. Yesterday we were on her scooter, and she's at that point, when you kind of learn something new, whether it be shooting a gun, shooting a bow and arrow, riding a bicycle, learning how to ski, you kind of get to that point where you start getting like kind of a little, when you're a kid, not maybe when you're an adult, but like when you get to that point where you're getting a little arrogant with things, and you're like, oh, I got this, don't worry about it. Well, she's at that level with her scooter now, to where she's like, hanging off the handlebars and stuff like, and she's going to be 5 in a month, and she's just very athletic. And yesterday when she was on her scooter, she was going so fast, she just launched off of this curb, and she had never done it before, and she bit it. And I was like, oh God, like this is the last thing I need to do, is bring her to the emergency room with all this stuff going on. So keep that in mind too. Even if you are healthy from this whole virus thing, drive safer, don't break anything, don't set your house on fire, all this stuff, because that's really what I'm really concerned about. I think I'm relatively healthy. If I do get it, I'll be okay. I get comfortably reckless. Yeah, I am comfortably reckless. Quick short story. In 2005, up until 2005, I never wore a helmet when I skied. And I would play in the park, and I would basically, I'd rip lines, and I would be crazy. And, even if I wasn't, I used to be a certified ski instructor. Like even when I wasn't teaching skiing, like if I wasn't teaching and there wasn't people following or listening to me, I was a maniac. It was one of those things in my life, and it still is, that I can hold a candle to anybody. Well, anyway, in 2005, I went up there with a bunch of guys from work to a place in Vermont that I had a house at. And we're at this place called Stratton, and all these guys were like super hardcore park guys. And they were hitting like, 20-foot launches and just ripping lines. And me, I'm like, oh, I can do that, And so, everybody was the same age. And I basically just hit this launch, and I woke up, and there was a ski patrol guy standing over me. And he was just kind of like, are you okay? Like, what's your name? And my buddies were standing next to me. They're like, are you okay? I'm like, what happened? They're like, you pretty much cracked your head open on the snow. And from that point, I started wearing a helmet when I was skiing, because I was always, I still, not to this day, but like I was reckless, and I still do a lot of reckless things. It's stupid, because I'm a father now, but like it's kind of inherent in all of us. So anyway, my point is, if you're reckless and you're stupid like me, be safer. I don't know. That's all I can really say. Yankee Bass SoCal, are you an active skydiver? I don't even know what magnet fishing is, Foxit. Like, I don't even know what it is. Last time I was out with Dave fishing, it was pouring rain, and I had to go back because I was not having a good day fishing, and I was kind of getting defeated, and I was also freezing my butt off. But I was going back, and I saw these people there. I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, we're magnet fishing. I don't even know what magnet fishing is. Like, what the hell is it? What is it? For the love of God, someone tell me what magnet fishing is. I'm not going to Lodi jump school. More people die there. That is the worst jump school. I mean, I drive by that on 99 when I'm going down to like Dan's shop or something. And like every time I drive back, I always see like on the news, you see on the news, somebody died. Oh man. How did it almost kill you? Just land funny? Oh, that's good. All right. Well, I've been babbling for about an hour. All right. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to put out a video on Thursday of this week. Oh, that's not good. 17. Geez. That's not a lot of room to jump, is it? All right. Well, I'm going to end this. It's been an hour. Thanks for everybody who stopped by and listened to me ramble. Stay safe out there. Have a good day. Bye.